That's enough, asshole. The thug screamed in agony, unable to comprehend the crushing force crushing his arm. Hey, why are you interrupting? Let go of me, the attacker stammered, panic rising in his voice as he felt his bones grinding together. He wailed, I think my wrist is about to snap. In that moment, a profound realization washed over Hyunmi-young. Even though he hadn't activated the fragment of the broken golden scale, he could feel a raw, overwhelming power coursing through his veins. He knew with certainty that he could easily snap the man's wrist if he chose to. It wasn't an illusion. His real body had definitely changed, inheriting the strength of his game avatar. Behind him, the woman who was being harassed shocked, her voice trembling as she realized, thanks to you, I survived. She looked at him with wide, bewildered eyes, asking if he was okay, admitting she didn't even know how to thank him, but was unsettled by the intense way he was staring down the women. As the scene unfolded, Hyunmi-young watched closely, his eyes narrowing in recognition. I was wondering why she looked familiar, he thought, realizing he was looking. She's the woman with the child he saved from the monster earlier. Meanwhile, the thug, desperate to regain his lost pride, pulled a dirty move. Arrogant bastard. Die, he shrieked, launching a sudden attack. But to Hyunmi-young, the movement was pathetic and slow. With a simple, fluid motion, he countered the attack, slamming the man into the ground with a resounding thud. The thug groaned, completely incapacitated. The onlookers gasped, whispering wow, in awe of the effortless display of dominance. The sound of sirens cut through the air as the police arrived to take control of the chaotic scene. An officer stepped forward, pointing at Hyunmi-young and stating, You'll need to follow us all the way to the police station. Hyunmi-young recoiled, offended. What? Me? Wait a second, he protested. The women he saved immediately jumped to his defense, shouting, This person was just trying to help. I'm the one who reported the stalker. However, the officer remained rigid, insisting that since an act of violence occurred, Hyunmi-young had to come along. Hyunmi-young argued back, incredulous. Act of violence? He had a knife. Are you saying he should have just stood and watched? He checked his mental clock, frustrated because he really didn't have time for this bureaucratic nonsense. The officer refused to bend regulations, warning that if Hyunmi-young went merely as a witness and got dragged into something, he couldn't take responsibility. Suddenly, a confident voice interrupted the police officer. I'm Kim Hannah, a CK broadcasting reporter, a woman declared, holding up her badge. She turned her sharp gaze on the officer, scolding him. Instead of harassing an innocent person, you should speak to the actual victim. Unless you want this case publicly reported? The officers stiffened, realizing they were dealing with a major network. The crowd began to murmur, recognizing Hannah. Isn't that the person? The one who saved a child from a monster on YouTube? Someone whispered. They identified her as a Dimension Warrior. Defeated by the pressure, the police sighed and agreed to only take the complainant. As the dust settled, Hannah turned to Hyunmi-young. Hey, thank you for today. Really, she said sincerely. She handed him her business card, introducing herself as a dedicated reporter covering Dimension Warriors. When Hyunmi-young looked confused, she explained that people called the heroes who defeated the monsters on the day of the invasion Dimension Warriors. Hyunmi-young looked at the card, internalizing the new terminology. Dimension Warrior. Does she mean players? He wondered. He noted with interest that almost nobody mentioned the game Pangenia directly. It seemed that an interdimensional attack sounded more believable to the public than a video game turning real. Hannah politely asked for his business card in return. Suddenly, Seo-yeon interjected, asking anxiously if Hyunmi-young was hurt, and then Kim Hannah asked, Is she your girlfriend? Hyunmi-young shut her down instantly. No, absolutely not. He told Hannah he didn't have a card, so she asked for his number instead. After exchanging phones, she read his name aloud. Park Hyunmi-young? That's a nice name, and boldly invited him to text her tomorrow for coffee or dinner, her treat. Hyunmi-young accepted the offer coolly, saying I won't refuse then, and they parted ways. Left behind on the street, Seo-yeon stood alone, humiliated and regretful. How could you do this to me? She whispered to herself, tears forming. She cursed him, trying to salvage her ego. Park Hyunmi-young, you're just a nobody. The scene shifted to Kim Hannah, who was now on a call. Hello, Supreme Authority Kim of our broadcast station. Are you having a good weekend? She greeted sarcastically. She asked him not to call her that, but he pressed on, informing her that the deputy director went on a business trip and left her a massive assignment. When she asked what it was, he dropped a bombshell. An interview with Gracia. Hannah was stunned. Gracia? The person treated like a hero who saved America? She asked, unable to believe she was being asked to handle such a big shot. She wondered why a global superhero would want an interview with her. Her boss admitted he had no idea, but the almighty superhero had specifically requested to see her and wanted to come to Korea. Meanwhile, deep in the Kaltzman desert of Pangania, the situation was dire. The Queen's pursuit squad had cornered Isabella. A commander shouted, "Snake Princess, the Queen commands your return. Hand over the slave behind you, and we'll pretend none of this happened." Isabella stood her ground, weapons drawn. "You fool," she spat back. The commander screamed, "Kill the traitor," and the soldiers charged. Just as the blades were about to strike, a magical light engulfed the area, flash, and a system message appeared. "Warp has been activated." The soldiers were thrown back in confusion. Hyun Myung, having logged back into his character Randolph, appeared in the nick of time. He noted that warping from the starting point was free. Seeing Isabella swaying from exhaustion, he caught her. "You held on well, Isabella," he said gently. She looked up relieved. "Have you finished communicating with the stars?" she asked. Randolph smirked grin and replied, "Yes." He then turned his attention to the enemy soldiers who were frozen in shock. "Don't just stand around. Execute the traitor immediately," the commander yelled, trying to regain control. Randolph stepped forward, his eyes glowing with power. "You kept your promise to protect me," he told Isabella, "so I must keep my promise to you." Randolph unleashed his power. The system announced, "You have used the exclusive skill of the star successor, Star Pierce LV1. It warned that all star energy had been consumed and the duration was only 41 seconds. A massive beam of light annihilated the enemy forces, their screams, drowned out by the roar of energy. Standing amidst the destruction, Randolph declared, "This is the moment of liberation. Rejoice." Isabella watched in awe, realizing this was the true power of the Star Bearer. Randolph turned to her and offered a choice. "Isabella, it's not too late. If you wish to return, I won't stop you." Without hesitation, she replied, "No, I will stay with you." The magic swirled around them, whoosh, as the system confirmed. The curse of limits placed on Isabella has been nullified by the blessing of the stars. A connection was established to the warp gate, showing 12 accessible cities. Randolph selected the destination, the central continent, Arcana. The warp commenced, and in a flash of light, they were transported. They arrived in a bustling, opulent metropolis. A system tip welcomed them to the Golden City, Arcana, warning that it was a place where materialism reached its peak and advising those without wealth to avoid deeper districts. The streets were crowded and noisy, filled with extravagant buildings. Randolph observed, "It's the Golden City. Everything can be resolved with gold here. First, we must gather funds." Isabella puffed out her chest confidently. "If it's gold, do not worry. I brought 300 gold coins," she announced, holding up a heavy pouch. Randolph looked at her with pity and broke the bad news. "That'll do for one night at best." Isabella was horrified. "That can't be. In the desert, 300 gold could buy 10 slaves. That's 10 times the price of a cleric," she stammered. Randolph explained that prices here were vastly different from the Kaltzman Desert. He pointed to a street vendor selling a simple item for 50 G. Defeated, she asked, "So what do we do now?" Randolph smiled mischievously. "What are you worrying about so much? There's money lying all over the place," he said. Confused, she asked, "What? Money lying around?" Randolph pointed to a large, flashy building with the sign Casino. They stood before the grand entrance of the casino. Isabella looked skeptical, but Randolph was brimming with confidence. "Don't worry," he assured her, his eyes flashing with a golden light. "I'm rather lucky." At that moment, a new notification chimed his mind. "Hidden trait Blessing of Gold has been activated."